Okay, so before we dive into ETFs further, we need to talk about the foundation of any successful investing journey, which is your financial plan. It sets you up for a successful financial future because it gives direction and meaning to your financial decisions. Without it, even the best ETF strategy can fall flat, and here's why it matters. Because it helps you control your income and your expenses, so your money works for you, not the other way around. It supports goal setting and helps you stay on track towards achieving your financial goals. And it reduces financial stress because you're no longer just guessing, you're actually planning for the future ahead. Now, if we flip the coin and, think about what happens without it, it basically accumulates unnecessary risk and debt without often even realizing it, because you don't have it scheduled in your plan and makes you sometimes unaware of it. It makes you unable to handle unexpected expenses like medical bills or broken laptops. You miss out on investment opportunities potentially in the long run because you didn't have cash available. You delay on your life goals, whether it's buying a home or taking a sabbatical. And worst of all, you have increased financial anxiety, which, hamstrings you in your life. And this is really why it's not just an optional, it's really crucial to plan your financial future. So in this course also, we have an Excel spreadsheet that sets you up with a financial plan that you can use, that basically looks at your current and your ideal situation with a timeline in mind, so that you have something that you can work towards. And we'll talk about that in just a few slides. But just to bring you to the second slide, this is a very important one as well, because the net income is a very key component. It's basically the money that you have left over after covering your expenses. So net income equals income minus expenses. This number is your fuel for investments or savings or paying of debts. And with rising net income, obviously, so does your ability to spend on leisure expenses and so on. And this is information we also have in the other video, so there might be a bit of crossover, but this one is more about really the long-term financial planning, not the short-term how to manage your expenses. There's many ways to increase your net income, and this is really not the key point of the course, but to go through some is you can, make yourself more valuable at work and get a pay raise. You can have investments that will pay you monthly dividends. Like, if you have ETFs, they will grow in value over time. Once you have a lot invested, you will make passive income from that. Say if you have, $1 million invested and you get 10% per year on average, you're making 100,000 euros passive income each year. So that's just one example. Or you have, a laundry business, a laundromat, and they, collect dividends, monthly cash flow that you get. That's income. You can sell education, like myself, and that's additional income. So there's various ways you can do this. And just to explain it simply, income is the money that's coming in, and the expenses are obviously all like the bills, the payments that you have to make for your phone, for example, grocery shops, and so on. The margin of this will be your net income. So in this next slide, I want to basically really drive the point down of assets versus liabilities. This is really something that a lot of financial gurus double down on in terms of the importance of knowing the difference, because a lot of people don't actually know the difference. To be fair, sometimes it's not totally clear, but simply put, assets is things that put money into your pocket. Basically, income generating machines that work for you. Things that either generate income directly or that appreciate in value. And a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, and they often come with interest costs. To go through some examples, assets are investments like property, or they're gold. They are, for example, a laundromat business where you have laundry machines that collect cash, or a car park that basically people pay to park there and then you get money. A liability is something that takes money out. So for example, student loans, that's something that you own that you have to pay back, and they take interest on those payments, so it costs you money. There's mortgages like that you put down for a house, you have to pay them back, they cost you money. Car loans, same thing. Credit card debts, same thing. And if you have, even a house that costs you a lot of money because there's a lot of repairs that have to be done, that's also a liability, where most people would think, a house is an asset. Well, not necessarily if the house takes money out of your pocket because of the constant repairs that are associated with it. So it's very careful consideration whether it puts money into your pocket or it takes money out of your pocket. Now, they're both compounding vehicles. That means liabilities, for example, they don't just cost money, but they can compound over time due to interest, and therefore unmanaged, they can delay financial progress. For example, if you have student loans and you don't pay them off, the interest of those student loans, if you say pay maybe 5% per year, let's say you have, for simplicity's sake, $100,000 in debt, and then you have a 5% annual interest to pay, which equals 5,000 euros of additional money that you have to pay. On the next year, you will pay not only 5% on 100,000, but 5% on 105,000. So in the Why Invest video, we showed, compounding investments. Well, the same thing can happen with liabilities, but the other way around. And this is why it's crucial to take care of them and manage them. In some cases, depending on how high or low the interest is, it might make sense to instead invest your money, because you might be able to gain more than you would lose if you didn't pay off your student debt immediately. That's something that I personally do with my student debt in Australia, for example, at the moment, because it's not so strongly compounding the student debt that I have. So I pay, every year I pay a bit back, and it makes sense for me to still invest a big portion of my money, but it might not be the case always. So definitely very important to take a look on that. Now, really what I want to drive home here is that it's good financial practice to build and grow income generating or appreciating assets. These increase your net worth over time. This is the aim of the game, of the, game of Monopoly that we can play in life, where we build assets, we build our net worth, we build income generating assets that work for us, so that we are not the money making machine that has to work 9 to 5 to pay the bills, but that we have a money making machine that works for us. You see the difference? This is a really powerful way that we can leverage our skills to build assets that can work for us and make us achieve our goals, whatever goal that will be. So in this slide, basically, this is about the financial plan. It's a very important slide. We want to basically look at our current situation and then at the target, and want to formulate a financial goal. And basically, we can then look at what our net income is to then formulate a goal and do the math in terms of how many months we need to get to that goal. If we have a target of, say, 10,000 by the end of the year, by the end of next year, and then we have a current situation that allows us to save, 500 to 800 euros per month, then we can see, okay, how far can we get with that? But it also makes sense to do the goal first and think, look, I want to have by 5 years 1 million, and then see what we can do now. And then to get to that goal, that we need to just have it in our mind, how much money it requires to get to that goal that we want to achieve by a certain time. Once we start earning more and we have compounding assets working for us, wealth growth is exponential. So we can reach, even ambitious goals. But it makes sense to have a 1-year interim goal where we want to save 10,000 euros by that certain time, and make a plan of how many euros we need to save each and every month to reach that goal. And in this case, we need a monthly saving target of about 835 euros to reach 10,000 euros in 12 months. So that's how we can see, okay, we have 2,000 euros per month, monthly expenses of 1,200 euros. Let's then, make a decision of saving 835 every month in order to reach that financial goal that we have in mind. Consistency here is key. You can put small steps in, like automatic transfers in your account, to ensure that you stay consistent to your goal, because trust me, the work that you do now will pay off tomorrow, and you will be glad and grateful that you have made these sacrifices when you were early, which is not really a sacrifice. It doesn't mean you have to live like a slave and not have any free time in order to achieve this. You can still have a great time and enjoy yourself and travel, but just be financially mindful in order to work towards your long-term goals and not just for the present. Although don't get me wrong, living in the present is great, but also having an awareness of what it takes to reach your long-term financial goals, whether it's that you want to be wealthy and you want to be financially free and independent, not having to work but still wanting to work for a larger purpose, whatever it will be. If you want to be retired at 35 sitting at a beach in Bora Bora, it's up to you, but it's just about making that plan of how can you get to where you want to get. So when we look at this spreadsheet of the complete financial plan, we can input our current amount of the expense category, the income category, and then have the total automatically calculated, which then allows us to see, where we are currently at. Like, what is our margin? What is our total income? Minus expenses, so our net income. And then what are our total assets minus liabilities? Like, what is our net worth, with other words? And then you can input the value that you want, and you can even add a column and, perhaps say you want a short-term goal and also a long-term goal to be able to reach. And then you can work towards it and see, okay, how can I get there? What do I need to do? Then you can check the number of months that are left until you reach that time point that you have identified for yourself. And then you have to see, okay, how much do I need to save each month to reach my savings target? How much do I need to invest each month to hit my total investment target? Or how much do I need to repay every month to achieve my ideal debt level by time that you have decided for yourself? Basically, the total amount of money divided by the months is the amount that you need to invest, repay, or save each month to achieve your goals. And just to let you know, at the end of this course slide is a complete financial plan Excel spreadsheet, which allows you to track exactly that. But then you can do the additional calculations on the number of months to achieve your dreams. Trust me, it's really a game changer when it comes to planning your financials.